Unzipped with Sherry is a bariatric podcast talking about weight loss surgery. I am not a licensed professional. Any views and or opinions expressed in the show are those of the speakers and do not reflect the bariatric community as a whole. Always reach out to a professional with any medical issues you are experiencing. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unzipped with Sherry. As always, with yours truly, I am Sherry. We had an amazing show last week, and so I'm really excited to delve into this week. We are now talking to Geoff this week, who had surgery 8 months ago, and would you believe that he is 9 pounds away from losing 200 pounds, which is absolutely incredible. I've had the privilege of getting to know him on a more personal level. You guys are absolutely going to love him. He has such an infectious persona on social media. He's on TikTok. He makes funny videos. He makes people smile. He makes people laugh. And it's going to be really funny to kind of delve in and get to know the origin story. So, Geoff, I hope you're prepared because we're about to get unzipped. We all have a story on how we got here, right? So for me, I used to be over 350 pounds until one day I made the single decision that I wanted change. Weight loss surgery has saved my life, and now I am here for you. I want to hear your story.
You know, the one that happened during that before and after picture?
It's time to unzip.
What's your story?
Hello, good sir. How are you?
Oh, hello. What's happening?
Nothing. We're just going to hang out today for an hour. It's just you and me. Nobody's watching. Don't worry. Actually, people are watching. So thank you guys for tuning in right now. I'm very excited. Can you see who's watching? Because I can see who's watching.
See who's watching.
Oh, I can watch you. How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you so much for agreeing to come on here today. I love that we're starting to kind of get some more guys on the show and get some more, male presence on social media. Geoff did warn me that he's not able to see all of the comments because the writing is small. So we have people saying, woo, let's go, Geoff. Hey. And
I can see him. We're good.
Okay, then why am I even doing that? You just made me make an ass out of myself in front of whoever's watching.
I just wanted you to go, woo!
Woo! So for people listening to this on Spotify later, I am sorry if I just pierced your eardrums right now if you're listening on your AirPods. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming. It's nice to kind of get some other guys' perspectives on here. I think we are going to plan a guys episode again and have like a few of you guys come on here with some different perspectives. But there are people watching and listening, you're not going to believe this, who don't know who you are.
How's that even possible?
I know. I think it's fucking batshit crazy. But for those people...
I'm this close to 2,000 followers, which isn't much, but getting there.
God. What are you going to do? We need to celebrate. So for outside of the almost 2,000 followers on the TikTok, for people who don't know who Geoff is, we kind of want to know a little bit about your origin story. No pressure.
Where should I start? All the way back?
Go all the way back to the moment that you just came into the world. Okay, I can't do that.
So there was a bright light.
Yes.
Yeah, I was in England. I was born in England. I assume somebody caught me.
Yes.
Something like that. Okay. But I started becoming the big boy probably around 9.
That early?
Started, yeah.
Okay.
And thankfully, I always had height. So I'm 6'2", and at my heaviest, I was 490. So I was able to fool myself for a while because I carried it okay.
Right.
And over my taller frame. Plus, being taller and big mean less bullies in school going up.
Let's take it back a little bit. The household that you grew up in, was it somebody that was it where your family was overweight too, and that was just the lifestyle, or what was it that at a young age you were already starting to have extra fat on you?
it was both genes and the stuff around us. Like my old man loved takeout, which I grew up loving as well. But a lot of meals were takeout, and I had no idea what portion control was. And then on his side of the family, my bubby was morbidly obese, and she had the moo-moos and everything.
Got it. So it's definitely a product of environment too.
Yes. So
Okay.
genes and environment. I usually have to tell the story because it's part of my path.
Okay.
So if my dad's watching, just cover his ears for now. But
earmuffs, Dad.
yeah. So I remember when I was a preteen, I was laying down on my stomach, shirt off because there was no air conditioning, and watching the TV. And he says, you look like a beached whale, get up. And that, for some reason, has always stuck with me. And, it gets stuck in your head that, yeah, this is the persona that I'm putting out here now.
And how old were you?
Probably 11 or 12.
Which is usually the age of entering puberty and finding yourself, and hormones and insecurities all coming to a head all at once. So I feel like it was like the best timing for you, right?
Yep.
To be brought in with like all these insecurities and stuff. And it sucks when it comes from a parent or somebody that you have a reverence for or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were like going in school, you said because you had gotten height too, that helped prevent you from like the bullying side of being overweight. But what was like your social element like when you were as a kid growing up?
The same as it still is. I was, the big nerd, video gaming, board games, stuff like that. Well, not board games. I was the only child. My wife taught me about board games.
My husband doesn't play board games either. He didn't grow up with them. No.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
How did you function?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
And when I was 13 when the parents separated and got a divorce. So more hormones and anger built up at that time and continued to fuel my annoyances and pain and whatnot with food.
Right.
That was always my biggest crutch was food. I drank before I was 18 and learned I didn't like hangovers, so there wasn't that. And
food's not going to hurt your feelings.
Right.
Food's not going to judge you or make you cry.
Sometimes when it gets all over my shirt,
that's different. Yeah, sometimes it can be a little annoying.
Right.
Now, besides the comment that your dad made, like, did your parents ever bring attention to your weight or like offer suggestions or any kind of programs for you to do?
Not really. After 13 or 14, it was just me and my mom. So us against the world, there were more things to worry about. And then she passed in 2017 from breast cancer.
I'm sorry.
And that was the whole thing that also led to my 490 mark at my highest, which, it was just like dark days and fueling myself with food. And then I knew she wouldn't want that. And I reached a point where I couldn't walk past a mirror. I couldn't look in it. I just couldn't look at myself, and I knew something had to change. And once I reached 490, I knew if there was another 10 pounds, there was no coming back from that. So that's when I started really getting into it, researching the surgery. And my PCP was really good at, like, I've had her for many, many years, and so she was a good support and showing me the ropes and what I had to go do. And
so let me ask you, so up until, and I'm very, very sorry for your mom's loss. Up until that point, and you don't have to say in numbers if you want to, about like how big were you? Were you just more like a stocky guy by that point, or were you more already considered like an obese status?
Oh yeah. I was obese before adulthood. In 2017, when Ma passed, probably around 420-ish.
Okay. And then
So already up there.
And I'm curious because I know that, and we've talked about it a little bit like on social media and stuff, that I do think that there's a reverse body dysmorphia in that sometimes we don't realize how big we are until you get like this, they call it like the wild picture, like, or the photo in the wild if you're at an event or something like that. And then they post it and you're like, oh my God. Did you, at the time, like, did you realize like what size you were, or was it just you weren't thinking about it? Like it just didn't register, or did you not see yourself in that way?
Yeah, I definitely saw myself in that way.
Okay.
I was my own worst enemy.
Okay.
And so were photographs. And I would make my wife, you gotta crop that picture before you post it.
Oh,
I
there's
don't want
certain angles. Yeah, you
my
have to
gut
have
hanging out there.
somebody stand in front of you or whatever, or hold the camera a little bit higher. Like there's a whole regimen that
That's
goes
what the
into
12-year-old is for.
Right. Exactly. So at what point, because then obviously if you were aware of your situation.
Hey, Johnny.
Hi, Johnny. Or Jonathan. At what point, because I know that you said you would walk by the mirror, you didn't like what you see, but you were walking by the mirror every single day for a long time. Was there something like that specific that happened that made you go like, I'm freaking done. Like I can't live like this anymore?
It was a combination of little things. Like everything took my breath away. I couldn't tie my shoes without having to take a break, and I couldn't even in the shower I would get winded just trying to reach around.
Right.
I remember that I would have to pop my shoulder out a bit to be able to reach around to my back and everything, and it was just all pretty ridiculous.
And then were you married at the time when you were thinking of having the surgery?
Yep.
Okay. And like how did your wife think about it?
She was supportive, still is.
Okay. So she wasn't trying to talk you out of it.
No. She knew it would be a big change. And we were worried, initially mortality rates of surgery, but there wasn't really anything to worry about there with the percentages that they are. And
yeah,
I was more worried to tell the kiddo about it. Like I didn't want to give her a complex, like dad's changing his whole life routine right now.
Right.
And,
And how old was
so
kid? How old, when you were having surgery, how old was kiddo?
She's 12. So she was 11 when I had it.
Which is the same age when you start the hormones start going in. Oh my God, the household for you. I'm so sorry. I'm just thinking about like, what you're about to face in the coming years. So did you tell her?
The cat's a boy. That's all I did.
Huh?
The cat's a boy, so I got a partner there.
Okay, that's good. So did you tell her right away or no?
No. We probably waited until it was closer to surgery before it was a pipe dream, and then.
And at that age, like you understand what's going on. Like what were her thoughts? Was she concerned for you? Was she scared? Was she excited that maybe dad's gonna be able to be more active?
Right. Yeah. Like that's how I explained it all. Of I'm gonna have more energy. We're gonna be able to do more stuff. Although I missed, I went with my buddy who's on chat right now, Johnny, to do some laps around the park. And we stopped at the playground and we did some swinging, and I took a little TikTok of that. Because it was my ass couldn't fit in that in the last decade, so now it does. And my kiddo's like, "Oh, I guess we can go to the park, but I'm too old for that now, Dad." I missed my window a little bit.
No, you can still go to the park with your daughter or whatever. Sure. I think it can still be fine.
We're gonna play some b-ball this summer.
Oh, I want to play. Oh my God. Totally off topic to people who are watching this right now. Can we plan some kind of like a bariatric like softball game or something? Don't all answer at once. That's fine. I'll just play by myself. That's an option too. You'll play with me, right, Geoff? Okay.
I guess so.
You guess
Let's do cornhole instead.
I've never done cornhole.
Never?
I'm from Southern California. Do we have cornhole here?
Oh, you should.
Is that?
I would think so. Johnny's down.
All right, let's go. So we'll plan. It doesn't have to be bariatric either. We can just plan. I would always wanted to do like a softball. Since I've had surgery, which is going to be almost like 9 years in September, I've always wanted to do like either a touch football game or some kind of a softball or baseball game, because these are things that I did when I was a kid. I haven't done that since, that I would love to put together. Maybe we'll plan a meetup of like sports stuff. Anyways, moving along. One thing I don't think you and I have talked about this, and it just came to me right now, because I remember that the night before I had surgery, I was more excited about the possibilities and what was going to come, but there's still that element of fear. What happens if something goes wrong tomorrow? What happens if I don't wake up? And
Yeah.
I remember me personally, I made a video while my husband was in the shower. And in the event, if I didn't make it out of surgery, he would see it on my phone. It was kind of like, just I wanted to make sure that I said what I needed to say in the event that something happened. And that was enough to kind of freak me out a little bit. However, I don't have kids yet. And I imagine that fear could be more overwhelming when you have a little one that you're also, responsible for. Like, did you have any of those fears or concerns?
Yeah. But I'm glad I didn't make a recording, because then I wouldn't have gone in.
I had to put everything on the table. Like, in the event, I knew that I was I had to do this for me, but you never know. Like, anything can happen. And I wanted my husband to know that I loved him and that I wasn't, I needed to do this for me. But, what was when you woke up from the surgery, like what kind of things were going through your head? Like, were you in a lot of pain? Were you excited? Like, I can't believe I finally did this.
I think I was more in the boat of, what the hell did I just do? But,
okay.
Yeah, I apparently had a hard time getting out of, what is it?
The anesthesia?
Anesthesia.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember some things, like the tube coming out, and I remember a nurse saying, "Geoff, there's little ladies next to you. You got to be quiet." Because I was screaming, like, it hurts. It hurts. Like the little princess baby I am. And
right.
Yeah.
So you were scaring the little ladies?
I was, apparently. And then I had a roommate that had like the TV on 24/7 on Fox News, and it was crazy. And he was constantly on the telephone.
Oh, nice.
So it was an interesting, yeah.
Okay, well let me tell you.
The hospital was an interesting trip.
I remember
also the car ride home.
Because it was uncomfortable?
Oh, good Lord, the car ride home.
What was wrong with the car ride home?
Every little bump.
Oh my God.
It felt like your inside, you could feel your insides,
yes.
Doing a little Jamba Juice going on.
How far was the hospital from your home?
An hour.
Oh, it's even worse. I think our drive was like
woods.
30, 40 minutes. But yeah, so now I always tell people who are having surgery, whoever's picking you up from the hospital, make sure they bring a pillow for you. Just something that you could hold on to the ride home, because even Eric was like driving.
Yeah, I didn't have that.
If you ever watched that movie, was it Knocked Up? And at the very end of the movie, like they're driving like 2 miles an hour during this canyon. There's just like the slew of cars like behind them. And I was like, that was Eric. Like, he was so because every single speed bump, every turn, every whatever was just intense pain.
That was Amy too. And I was like, I'm pretty sure you're aiming for these potholes.
Right. I think you're doing this on purpose. I promise I'm not. No, I think you're getting some enjoyment out of this, 100%. A little off topic, but I'm curious because I've been asking this question a lot, specifically with guys who are on the show, because on social media, it's like 90% women who are talking about bariatric surgery. I also realize that the reason 90% of the women are talking about it, it's only because 70% of all the surgeries are generally women. So there's a smaller percentage. Right. But there's a lot of men who kind of do it from the sidelines and they don't like to talk about it very much. And I'm very glad to see that more and more men are slowly starting to come forward and talk about their journeys. I'm just curious, from your personal perspective, why you think men are not as vocal about this as women would be.
I think it's unfortunately still more of a societal issue. Like, men are supposed to be, air quotes, the strong, silent types. And I don't. It's just I see that there's more pressure on women for appearance and that kind of stuff, where it's less so on us. So I think that's also a reason why there's less men going and looking into the bariatric program.
Mhm.
And in general, we're not always that great at talking about what we're going through in our feelings.
No,
I know, right?
that is
Uh,
shocking. You're like the first guy who's ever not
really?
wanted to talk about his feelings. That's just so
The first
weird.
one?
Yeah, that's just so
No,
weird.
I'm glad. I'm glad I'm the first. The it's I felt like I needed some sort of community, which is why I went to TikTok. Um, I started it like the day I went in for surgery. That was when I started my
Really?
TikTok. I didn't know that there was a whole community out here until afterward.
Yeah, Mike wants to know,
And
what are
then,
these feelings that you're speaking of? This is insanity.
you know, feelings, Mikey. Um, the Even with my local program
Mhm.
where I had my surgery in Worcester, Mass. We have a Facebook group, and I reached out on there to see if anybody was near my area that we could just get together and stuff. And that's Johnny that's in our chat, and he's been
Ah,
my rock. He had surgery. Johnny, correct me. I think 5 months, 6 months before I did, and he's doing
okay.
great as well. We're gonna go nerd out this weekend at a PAX convention,
Nice.
and yeah, it's been good to have that sort of backup of people that know if you're going through, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And I love that for all of what I consider like the newbies who are like a year or two out and less, is that I do think that there are good social media platforms out there that are very inclusive, very supportive. I'm just curious though, because based on your feelings on why you think men are not as vocal, what made you decide, hey, I'm gonna, talk about bariatric surgery? Because, and you know why I'm gonna ask this is because there's places that you're not posting about it. I'm just curious,
Yeah.
what made you decide to open up a TikTok and start posting about it?
uh I'm not your typical quiet man. uh
I've heard.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think originally I was going to do it for myself to look back on,
Okay.
and then uh, and I wanted to be able to help out the community, just seeing what somebody else went through, because I was having a hard time finding other men that had gone through that. I was before TikTok, I was looking through just YouTube and trying to find stuff, information and everything through there. Uh, so yeah, and the pressure of knowing that nobody I knew was on the TikTok, or they
Right.
probably are, but I didn't invite them. Um, which brings me to Facebook. Nobody. I have a few close friends that I told about the surgery, but I've been MIA on Facebook, at least sharing photos or talking about anything bariatric or weight
So
loss.
people outside of the social media world, besides a very small select few, nobody knows that you've had this surgery.
Right.
And I'm just curious as to why you have not told anybody.
I am also curious.
Tune in next time when we find some answers.
I I I felt
Well,
like there's a stigma around the surgery, as we all know, that people are going to say the nonsense that you cheated or something, which is
right.
absolutely not the case. This is a tool. Um, it's definitely helped me with portion control, but everything else we've had to do and learn on our own, and that includes once I lost some weight, I was able to move more, do more
Mhm.
exercising, and focusing on arm days now, and doing 5Ks, which I never
Wow.
would have dreamt I'd do. Um, so I've kept postponing it, and now I'm postponing it again until I hit my 200-pound down mark, so we can see a full transformation and share it on Facebook.
And I guess my question is there a part of you that felt embarrassed by sharing like how you were getting to the destination? with your personal life?
Kind of, yeah.
Like, that just makes me sad that people's opinions can affect us
Right.
that much. Um, well, it's also concerning too. Like, a lot of people in your life, are they not reaching out to you? Are you not talking to them on a regular basis?
Uh, just my few close friends, yeah. I've even told my bestie, but I haven't seen him in 2 years, pre-COVID.
So he
We keep
knows, you
trying to
just
get
haven't.
together, and we haven't done it.
Are you worried? Are you still worried about what the response is going to be?
Yeah. It, again, going back to the men talking about the whole bariatric thing. Just talking about anything in general, you don't really get a reply from your boys. It's not like a big, "Hey, you're so great, you did this." It's
Yeah.
more, "All right, cool. What are we doing tomorrow?"
Well, but I think that's also a testament that they're not judging you by it, because like
True.
it doesn't affect your relationship in any way. Now, the people that you were vocal with, obviously you told them because you did feel comfortable with them. Like, what has their response been for you?
Pretty good. It's been good replies. Lately, they've started noticing actually, like, "Hey, you're looking like you've lost a lot nowadays." It's it's not as apparent when you see people, once a month or something,
Right.
but somebody that you haven't seen in a year is going to say, "Hey, what happened to you?"
I know.
Which is the reply I want, but I don't get often enough.
Well, because you're not telling enough people about it, or
I
you're
know,
not seeing people for them to respond
right?
to you. You
I
have a,
moved out to the woods. I'm a hermit now. I don't know,
okay, so how do we get you to, first of all, we need to get you to not be a hermit, because we need to get you to be out there, be more social.
right?
Well, Mike says you look happy and he loves seeing it. So, it'd be make
Thank
you
you, Maggie.
happier being amongst people in person
Right?
and creating
I keep
memories.
figuring out how to if I should go to Chicago for prom there.
Oh, I have an easy fix for that. Just go.
Ugh. But then you gotta plan stuff and buy airplane
Yeah.
tickets.
Yeah.
I've always been envious of van lifers, so maybe I can just put a little toe behind on my convertible and get out there.
Why not? I'm telling you something. It is a game changer being able to meet people in person that you've been talking to and building like these connections with. It's a whole other vibe in person. And
Yeah.
and when you meet them in person, it almost feels like you're at a reunion. Like, whether it was like
Mhm.
high school with like the friends, the good friends you had in high school or whatever. Um you need to get out more.
I know, right?
I know.
I
Um
I go out with Johnny all the time. Now we just need to find other people.
well, I forgot, what state are
We're
you in?
Massachusetts.
Oh, that's right. So if I have an event on the East Coast, I actually how far are you from like New York? That's not that far, right?
Not too far. A couple
Okay, so,
hours.
so if I go, wait, driving it's a couple hours.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not that bad. So if I go visit family, then you'll come. You'll leave Hermitville and
Yeah, sure.
You'll travel.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right,
go.
we're manifesting. We're manifesting that Jeff and I are going to hang out together in person.
Let's do it.
People who are listening to this and don't see the video, we are waving our fingers like little fairy fingers.
We have spirit fingers going on.
We have spirit fingers. Um, One of the things that I thought was interesting in your intake form when we were talking beforehand is, one of the things that I feel like you and I had similar was that we were always the funny fat friend. We were
Oh
always
yeah.
and I felt like we made jokes about ourselves, because if we beat them to the punch, then it's less hurtful. They're going to be less inclined to make fun of us. But then it's also like distracting. Like, you're causing a distraction by making them laugh and making your value is based because you can make them laugh because you're not as aesthetically pleasing or whatever. Um, so how has it been, like, even with your friends that you have now that you have been talking to, how has it been for you, like, transitioning from being quote unquote the funny fat friend to just being the funny friend?
It's been a little less jiggly.
That's all you got. You're killing me, dude.
A little less jiggly. Um, they it's it's been a transition to not constantly pick on myself. Like,
Do you still find yourself doing it though?
Not really.
You're-
The weight loss has given me a lot more confidence, I've found.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I feel like I'm not there yet. I still find myself beating people to the punch if there's like certain insecurities that I have. I was like, well, I gotta say it before, because I know they're thinking it. Or you just assume everybody's thinking it, so I might as well bring to light about it. But yeah.
I keep having these epiphany moments of like I went to get blood work today, and I fit in a silly blood work chair, and I was like, oh, hey, look at that. Like cheap plastic yard chairs are not my enemy anymore.
I was just listening to somebody talking about that today, and I have these flashbacks. You go to a wedding, and it's an outdoor wedding on the grass, and it's the white plastic fold-up chairs, and you're like, son of a bitch.
Right?
This can go either way very quickly.
And it does. I remember going to my grandmother's house in Canada, and all the little rooms are very dainty and fancy, and I broke the bed frame just lying on one of them, and that was a fun time.
Yeah. I was in my first vacation in my adult life. Eric and I went to Maui, and when we arrived, who we were going with, they all took naps because they were like exhausted from the flight. But I was like, I'm in the city. I've never been here. I'm like so excited. And I was sitting on like the lawn chair, and I was just enjoying like the beauty and the sunshine. And I heard a ripping sound, and then I fell right through the plastic. And I'm like, that's how we're going to start this vacation. Okay. But now
what about jeans?
I don't think I've ever ripped jeans. I've gone through a lot of pants because I'm sure you had it too, but like when your thighs are constantly like rubbing up against each other, I've gone through so many pants in such a short period of time because the seam kept getting whittled to nothing. Isn't that
I remember going to a movie screening at an IMAX with my buddies, and it was probably Avatar, the first one, and ducking under the little line gate to get to them, and all I hear was whoosh, and the whole seam of my pants came undone.
No.
I'm going to blame Walmart because I bought stupid Walmart pants.
It's obviously the quality of the pants. It wasn't you.
Right. Can't hold all this beauty in.
It was, you know what? It was like there was just so much beauty inside of you. It was bursting to get up. It was too much awesomeness contained
blowing right out
under one seam. Like you had to be exposed. Like it's just too much.
I was like, quick! Somebody give me a bucket of popcorn to hide behind.
I freaking hate that so much. I
have so many embarrassing stories like that.
What's your favorite?
My favorite what?
Embarrassing story.
You want me to tell it live to the world?
You can tell me anyone you want. I mean, I'll share whatever stories you want. I fell in a supermarket before and people couldn't help me up.
Yeah, that happened not too long ago. Just before surgery, I took the kiddo to there's this big flea market called the Brimfield Fair, and it's like 5 miles long. And right when we were getting ready to leave, we were crossing the road, and the car's like speeding up because he thinks he's gonna pick on the fat guy crossing the road, and of course the fat guy crossing the road skips on a rock and goes, and it was in slow motion. It felt like
no.
Yeah. And the poor kiddo was all worried. Yeah. But non-big guy, most embarrassing story. All right, you ready?
Yes.
Are you sure? I went
so.
to the Sweets and Snacks Expo in Chicago because I was the creative director for Necco Candies. I did all their packaging design and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So we were there both working the booth and checking out the competitors and seeing what's happening in the field right then. But you get all kinds of free candy while you're doing that. And I came home with a big bag of candy, not home, to the hotel room.
Right.
I put the bag next to me, and then I sit down on the bed with a tablet, and I'm FaceTiming the wife and kiddo in the evening. Then I felt something weird behind my knee, and a piece of chocolate had fallen out of the bag while I was on the bed and melted underneath me, and it was a giant white bedspread. And I left notes
No.
for the cleaners in the morning that said, "Sorry, not poop, but chocolate." And I left a couple pieces of chocolate as a tip
To
for
let
all
them
their
know, look,
trouble
legit.
to prove, listen, this is definitely chocolate. And I'm pretty sure it was like the chocolate with peanuts in it too. So that was even
Oh
worse.
my God.
Little chunkier. And that's my story of Chicago at the Sweets and Snacks Expo.
So that's the real reason why you're afraid to go to Chicago. You don't want a repeat of what happened.
Bam.
See, that makes a lot more sense now.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever think, now I'm curious because I don't know if you and I have talked about this before. Up until you had decided to have the surgery, had you ever done programs or things beforehand?
Oh yeah.
Like, what were some of the
Weight
things that you tried?
Watchers.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, had my own nutritionist for a while. I think I was at my lowest adult weight when Annabelle was just being born, my daughter. So more than a decade ago, and that was at, I think my lowest was 330 when that happened. So now at 299, and it was awesome surpassing that my first time in adulthood. And it's also kind of sad because a lot of people in the bariatric community, this is where they're starting, and I'm almost 200 down, so I still got a long way to go. But
It doesn't. But it doesn't matter how long it takes for you to get to the journey. The point is you're getting to the journey.
right.
Because, and I'm curious for you. Like for me, I would do so many different programs, and it wasn't for a lack of commitment. Like I put everything I had into it, but nothing. Like the weight just physically wasn't coming off. But
Mhm.
you had some success when you were doing programs with like nutritionists and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So then, what usually caused your derailment to yo-yo back in the other direction?
Emotional eating
So it's
usually is the case.
usually something would trigger it, and then you would kind of fall
Right.
back into old habits.
And then I'd screw up and just say, well, screw it, I messed up for the last week, I might as well just keep going the way I
Right.
was doing.
Okay. So what
Which
are
is
you?
something that I was so much fear going into bariatric was, is this going to be like everything else? I'm going to cut myself open and I'm just going to like gain it all back. Still a solid fear, but I think I've built good foundations to
Yeah.
move that forward.
So now that you're 8 months out, like how do you, like for people who are watching that have the same fears as you or have the same issues
Mhm.
with emotional eating, what are some things that you do on a daily basis to keep yourself on check to not go back to how you used to be?
Um, I'll notice when I am getting cravings to binge, and it's just knowing that if I'm gonna be snacking, I need to snack on something filled with protein.
Okay.
Whether it be, if I need chips, I'm gonna go to the pork rinds, and I've already portioned it out into little bags so that I wouldn't overeat them.
So structure works really well for you.
Right.
Okay. Are you someone,
And
because, and at this point, you can pretty much tolerate almost anything now, right?
yeah, for the most part,
Okay.
I still can't do salads, which is weird, but
You did
like
say
lettuce
that,
doesn't
which
sit well.
like not at all.
Mm-mm.
That is so interesting.
I've never had dumping syndrome though, so
Well, that's a plus.
knock on
And
wood.
you had bypass, right? Oh no,
I
you
did.
have the sleeve. No, you have the sleeve. So
Gastric sleeve, yeah.
dumping is not nearly. It's not common with
Yeah,
with sleeve. But then, do you deal with acid reflux?
I did before surgery, and they took me off of it at my 6-month follow-up.
Oh, really? So yours
Haven't had
actually
it since.
improved.
Yep.
Son of a bitch! I still take Tums. I have Tums over here. Um, did you think 8 months ago that you were going to be where you are right now? Did you think you were going to have this kind of a weight loss in 8 months?
No, I had like a vision of what I wanted the weight to be, and how long I thought it would take to get there. It's been pretty quick for the first 200 here. My plan is to get down to 220, which I think would be well for my frame, since I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
Wonderland would be great, but
it is, and I don't know, is Wonderland ideal for somebody who's 6'2"?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't want to look twiggy.
Yeah, you don't want to be twiggy.
Right. And then I've been battling that scale to get to the 299 mark, because I've been doing more lifting and weight training. So I'm gaining pounds in muscle, which is annoying but good.
I know. I don't know how many times I can tell people put the scale away, but I'm also the same person. I find myself, I do weigh myself every single day, more to keep myself. But then it's frustrating, because if you had a really, really good day, you're like, okay, I lost a couple of ounces. Like, I'm sure of that. And then you step on the scale and nothing happens. You're like, son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And the old you, it's like, well, then what's the point? Might as well go have this, and that, which I don't now. Is like, no, we still got to stay on track. I do tell people, put the scale away for a while. And especially because you are working out. How long did you wait after surgery before you started kind of like lifting weights and going into the gym?
Probably about 4 months.
Okay. And what made you decide to start?
I got addicted to 5K medals.
So when did you do your first 5K?
We'll have to go look on TikTok for that. I don't remember, but probably about 4 or 5 months after.
Oh, so it was fairly recent. In the last 4 or 5 months you did one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I've done probably 5 in-person 5Ks, and then I do a bunch of virtual races.
Okay, so what made you think about even contemplating doing something like that? Because that's like going from like 0 to 100.
Mm-hmm. When there was, Johnny says last September. He knows. He's on this.
Johnny
he
knows
actually come to a few of them with me. It's not, I ain't, running, but I ain't last. So,
right.
And I think it started right at the beginning of surgery. To get rid of the gas pain that we all get there in the beginning, I would take small walks, but it was so taxing on your body at the beginning. So I have a long driveway. So my goal was to just get down to the driveway and check the mail, and I even put a seat in the middle. So if I needed a pit stop, brought my fluids with me. So it was kind of like a hoorah moment when I can actually start getting out onto the road and how far I can get. So I was kind of challenging myself at that point to go further, go longer, until I made it to the end of my road. And so that's our usual walk. I hit the stop sign. It's 2.5 miles there and back, which I would have never done before surgery. I'll walk down to the other end of the road. That's a dead end, and it's probably 0.6 of a mile. That was all I would do.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. And then I started adding in, because I wanted to do a full 5K before I actually went and did a 5K. So I would add in more. And we're rolling hills. We're in the woods. So it's all uphill and stuff like that. So it was interesting.
If I remember, like a 5K is like 3.3 or 3.6 miles or something like that.
Yeah.
And do you walk the whole thing, or do you like jog parts of it?
The later ones I started to jog. Yep. The initial ones, it was all fast walking.
I want to do that. I did like an AIDS walk with a friend, but we were walking with her baby in a stroller. It wasn't like a brisk. It was just like a fundraiser kind of thing. I've never actually worn the bib and like did the 5K and actually like crossed the finish line.
Right.
I feel like that would just be so exhilarating.
And there's so many of them that they're doing for charities and stuff. Like I just go on Facebook and check the events page, and there's always something going on. Whether I have to drive to Connecticut or not is a different story. But yeah.
What if I plan like a MOBA 5K in California? Would you come out for that?
California?
Yeah.
That's like all the way on the other side of the world.
I know.
Or the country anyway. Maybe.
Did you say the world? I just got
I said the
after
world.
that.
I guess I'm taking the long way around. I gotta go
Yeah, you
that
decided
away
that you want
first.
to go the back door way,
Yeah, you
back
gotta
end, back
circle it around.
roads.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that would probably that'd be
I
a
like my
really
flights long.
I can see that. So we are approaching the first year. Like, does it feel like it's been 8 months, or does it feel like it's still like a couple weeks ago?
I would go a couple weeks, but a couple months probably.
Yeah, like I feel like the
Yeah,
first year went so quickly for me. Like I just
yeah.
blinked and like you're hitting 1 year. So you're a couple months away from your 1 year surge anniversary. I'm curious, in the last 8 months so far, was there anything about this process that has surprised you?
That surprised me.
Yeah.
I think they don't prepare you for everything that comes after. So you get the general gist. You know you're gonna lose some weight, um, but like all the differences that happen that aren't told to you, like hormonal changes because you're losing so much weight, or um, having more improved confidence that I'm noticing. Like I wasn't expecting that to happen, and
Mm.
uh, having different compliments from random people, and my tastes have changed too. Even though I'm still pretty bougie with my food. Uh,
Actually, I'm curious. So women have to deal with hormonal issues after surgery. I didn't know if it was as common for men.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what and like I don't know how you can elaborate, but like was it something that would make you more aggressive, more emotional? Like what was it that was changing for you that you wish you were prepared for?
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, oh my
Don't
god.
really you don't really talk about it on a podcast, but
Oh,
uh,
but I obviously I don't want to put you on the spot or anything like that. I was just wondering like if guys were watching and can like be like, "Oh,
well,
I didn't notice
like
think about that."
I'm 40 and I've started to feel the energy of a 20 something
Got it. Okay.
again. You know?
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's well, and that what you said, that's 100% common. Almost every guy I've had on the show has brought that up. Is that's been one of the biggest game changers from the male perspective. That
Yeah.
has been a consensus across the board. And don't worry, we don't have
Mhm.
to go into details or anything like that and make you uncomfortable. Um, was there anything about this journey that you had like a certain expectation for, and the reality was different than what you were expecting?
Mhm. Hmm. I was not expecting to feel so enraged by liquids
By liquids?
for, for the first few months,
Why do liquids make
for
you so
four
angry?
weeks, because of the liquid diet. I was on it for 4 weeks after, not 4 weeks, yeah, four something. How long were
Oh,
we on
so
liquids for?
oh well, everyone's okay. So you were on straight liquids for like a month straight.
I blocked it out. Yeah.
I okay. Well, see, here's the thing. Everyone's different. I've seen people only on liquid stage for like 1 or 2 weeks. I was the
Hmm.
same way. I was on liquids for a month straight, and it
Yeah.
wasn't until the first day of week 5 that I was allowed to have a mashed food, like a tuna or a mashed banana, and that was
Mine was
like,
a very scrambled egg. That was my first food,
oh.
and it was heavenly.
See, I don't think I hit scrambled egg phase until maybe week 7.
Mhm.
Maybe I don't
We
remember.
They gave us 4 weeks of fluid,
Yeah.
but we skipped like the mushy shit stage.
Oh, so you
So we
passed
can
over
do
the purees phase.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. But I couldn't stand the so much fake sugar in everything.
Yeah.
I was craving savory that I resorted to going on Amazon and buying sports pickle juice. Hmm.
What
They
is
make that.
sports? What is sports pickle juice?
It's a Gatorade bottle full of pickle juice, and I would mix it with tomato juice, and it would be lovely.
I am so happy for you that you found
Uh-huh.
something that you enjoy. Pickled. No.
That and broth. That was the only way to get out of the protein shake sweetness.
You know what though? But we've been firm advocates on this show and on social media that all of our journeys are different. What works
Mhm.
for some works for other. I would not
Yep.
buy pickle Gatorade, and I would not add tomato juice or anything like that to it. But that's me. But somebody watching this right now goes, "Oh my god, that is the most brilliant idea I've ever heard of before," and they're
It
going to go
has
out and
electrolytes.
no. I can
Mhm.
I can eat a pickle and then take a sip of like smart water. Like I can do that.
No difference.
I'm pretty sure there's a huge difference. If somebody, so I'm gonna be thinking about pickle juice and tomato for like the rest of the night right now.
You want me to send you some? I still got bottles of them.
No, you know what?
Once I didn't
Yeah,
have to drink them, I didn't.
you know what? Yeah, you know what? Send me a bottle of your pickle juice, and
Sure.
I will make a video for you, and I will try it and have a genuine, real reaction just for you.
Nice. Okay.
Just I can't
Done.
wait. I can't wait. It's gonna be amazing. For somebody who's watching the show right now or listening to this later, who's either on the fence or about to have surgery or just started the process in the early stages, what would be the biggest advice that you would give them that helped you the most in the beginning?
Don't be scared of it. I think I went in pretty scared of what I'm doing and how it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But the hardest part is the first few weeks, just getting used to the no food stuff and getting down your routines. Also finding somebody or someone or a group of people that can help and know what you're going through, which is we have a great community here in TikTok. You can do it virtually or in person. I remember trying, this is off topic, but trying, not Alcoholics Anonymous, what is it? Overeaters Anonymous.
Oh, yeah.
Which was kind of a shit show.
Really?
So it was, we were in the middle of COVID, so everything was virtual or over the phone. And
Yeah.
I joined a men's only group and they gave me some tough love and said, I think you have more eating to do. You're not ready to fully commit. And that I shouldn't get the surgery, that I should just try the Overeaters Anonymous first. And, that stuck with me too, that you got more eating to do, he says. You're not at the stage of ready to jump off a cliff because of your weight. And I was like, I kind of am. That's why I'm looking into surgery.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Talk about a
So
terrible support system.
Yeah. So I went looking elsewhere and I was able to find it, which is what I would suggest to new people, that definitely find the right group of people that can support you along this journey.
No, but you know what? Like, okay, I know I was giving you shit earlier about not, talking to people like on social media or like on other platforms or whatever, but that alone explains so much as to the mindset behind not wanting to share people, because if a room full of strangers in a support group, they are designed to support you and talk through your issues and be togetherness, for them to fucking judge you the way that they did, then who's to say, like, how are you going to be judged with somebody that you actually value their opinion, or somebody that out in the real world on a personal level? So that does make a lot more sense why you've been so apprehensive in telling people about your journey.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. That sucks. But I'm glad that you feel comfortable, one, sharing your story with me, and two, like, you've really embraced it, like, at least on other platforms and stuff. And how, like, for people who, here's a great question that we're getting asked, I'm seeing it more and more every day. People saying in comments, I really want to make videos, but I'm too afraid, or I don't think I have anything relevant to say. So I just like watching other people's videos. Like, what would you say to them to not to convince them, but to encourage them to give it a try?
First, I'd say there's nothing relevant on TikTok anyway. So there's one thing crossed off. But
present company excluded. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And it's I think people get too much into their heads, which I do too. That's why I'm not sharing to Facebook. But for some reason, it's cathartic for me to share on TikTok, seeing that I found this community and being able to see what other people are posting. It's
Do you still find yourself
helpful.
getting worried, like how you're going to be perceived or what people are going to think about when you make a video? Or are you pretty confident in yourself and the people who are following you and that you're connected to, that you're not as bothered by what the reaction might be?
Yeah, less bothered. Although I'm breaking out from my CPAP, but that sometimes annoys me.
The CPAP annoys you.
The CPAP annoys me, and the breaking out.
Well, yeah. But
Yeah.
but you're bothered by
Again,
it, but
turning-
we're finding a solution.
Yeah.
We're finding a solution for it. Like, they are giving you suggestions on what you can do that you can try.
Yeah. Again, going from 40 to 20 something, it's like prepubescent again.
Yeah, it's annoying. Like, yeah, but see, we
Right?
can put on more makeup and
Right?
we can hide it. If you want, I can put I can
could
put a
just
little
sit-
bit on you.
I could just sit further back.
Just sit
and
like
hide.
a back.
Yeah.
See, like this.
Or go half face.
Oh, can we do half face?
We can pull the rock.
What is one thing? Oh my gosh, we only have a couple minutes left. Holy crap, I wasn't paying attention. So one of I remember, like, you had told me, what was one of your you had told me your very first NSV. Do you remember what it was that you had told me? You might not remember, because we talked like weeks ago.
I may not remember.
You had told me that your very first NSV was having ankles.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't realize how much I resonated with that so much.
Uh-huh.
That was legit. I had cankles my entire life.
Yes, ma'am.
And you could see like the little ankle bone, and that was like the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, it was pretty strange. I remember at my heaviest, like, you could press on your cankle and see the impression. Mm-hmm. There's nothing left down there. And it's crazy to see how muscular your legs are once you lose some weight, because both from my 5K stuff experiences, but also because we were carrying around so much weight on these legs that they had to be strong already. So
right, which is very, very true. I just think, like, I love the analogy, or like the vision or the visualization of having like your first NSV, of acknowledging that you now have ankles, and within maybe and then like 3 months later, maybe not even less than 3 months, you were using those ankles, crossing a finish line on on your first 5K. Like, I just love that whole picture of it. So obviously you're not going to stop doing 5Ks. So
no.
entering year 2 post-op, I already see you doing a bunch of 5Ks. But what are some other NSVs that you are looking forward to doing or attempting that you haven't tried yet?
I really want to start doing pull-ups. So I want to get a power tower and be able to lift my own body weight. I can hang at the moment, but I can't go up. So I found some training stuff on YouTube that I'm going to try out. I also want to cross off a bucket list of being able to fly in a helicopter, do some helicopter lessons.
Okay.
I remember seeing and hearing about them, but found that there was a weight limit for lessons. So now I'm under that.
Okay, so when are you going?
I don't know. I have a whole bucket list of stuff.
Okay.
I would also like to go kayaking again.
I've never done that ever.
Never ever?
Like, never ever.
So the year before surgery, I tried to get an inflatable kayak.
Okay.
You have to have core strength to be able to sit up in an inflatable kayak. Nope. Just kind of topple backwards with my oar and pedal back to shore.
Solly. I did a zip line when I was 18.
I wanted that too.
but it was an indoor zip line. It was like in a gymnastics gym. So you just go like from
Mhm.
one end of the gym to the other. And it had like the springboard on the floor because the gymnast would go there. And so everyone's telling Sherry, like, you need to go on the zip line. I'm like, Sherry's afraid of heights. Like, we're good. Like, go play amongst yourselves. Like, I'll be fine. And they encouraged me to do it. And so they have you sit with your feet dangling over the edge and you're holding it.
Mhm.
And then what they don't tell you is that you need to keep your arms, oh, you can't see, like in that perpendicular position. They didn't tell me that. So all of a sudden you scoot off, and the first thing is you're having 200 and some odd pounds just come down, and like your arm just shoots straight up. Will you let
Mhm.
go? And so I literally landed on my tailbone on the floor, but it was a springboard. It's a gymnastics gym. So I cleared 3 feet from the first bounce. I bounced off of the springboard. I cleared 3 feet, and then I landed again. And then I hit my elbow and my wrist, and I ended up breaking I actually broke my funny bone. True story. I
Really?
didn't know that you can do that. It was not as funny when it happened. But and even though that
How
was
many flights did you fall?
I think it was like 10 feet. I think 9 or 10 feet from the air, but that's probably one of the reasons why I have like PTSD and I have not been or attempted a zip line ever since. Although I understand that a real zip line you are fully harnessed in. I get that.
Right.
You're not just, at a gym after hours, like unsupervised. But yeah, good times.
I'm looking forward to traveling more now.
Good. You
The
can start with Chicago.
air travel was always scary because I remember a time where I had to sit next to some stranger and I got the most awful looks and like you're in my way, you're encroaching on my seat and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was always fearsome to fly.
Well, we
I
are
didn't
going
want
to
to deal with the looks.
no, and I get that. And I had a similar experience at I didn't know that they had seatbelt extenders. I didn't know that that was a thing
Mhm.
back then. But
Yep.
I was always told that if you could not buckle it, then they make you buy a second seat, and I could not
Mhm.
afford a second seat. So when I
Right.
would fly, I would have to I put a blanket around me. Like back then they would provide blankets for you. I guess they don't anymore. And every time the stewardess would come by or the flight attendant, I would just pretend like I was sleeping, so they wouldn't talk to me or offer me a drink or anything, just so they couldn't see that I couldn't even buckle the seatbelt.
Mhm. My
Yeah.
my gut would overhang the seatbelt anyway,
Mhm.
so you couldn't see that the extender was on. Um, Not so much anymore. I noticed in photographs now that you see my little toes.
Yeah.
It used to just be my gut. I didn't know those were down there.
There's toes
So
down there. You didn't know
what
that?
is this? No. Where these things come from?
Okay, but here's the thing: you're not a girl, so I still can't see my toes. But that's because
Hmm.
I have boobs.
Other stuff in the way.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's other stuff in the way. But at
Yep.
least it's not my stomach anymore. Before my stomach used to go
Right.
way past it, so like that's a good plus or whatever. Um,
Sometimes you miss the shelf though, because I
oh,
used to be able to rest plates on my stomach, and
yes, I do like the bowl of cereal. You could just like sit right up here.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I miss those days. Well, I just want to say again, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really, really appreciated it. I do hope that you'll consider coming back again because it would be fun if we can. I don't know how we'll do it logistically, but it would be cool to do like a 5K and maybe we can meet up sometime and do one like live on the show or something like that. See,
Yeah.
kayaking is a good one. Um, if anybody is watching this or listening later, you can follow Geoff at Gigawatt Guy on TikTok. If you have any other questions for him, you can reach out to him.
Underscore VSG.
Oh, underscore VSG. My apologies.
That
So
might be
for those,
somebody else, just Gigawatt Guy.
they're like asking you all of these questions and like the person has no idea what's happening. You can follow him at gigawatt guy underscore VSG on TikTok. If you want to see Geoff come back again, send me messages with any questions or things that you want to ask him. I do want to plan. I've said this multiple times. I do want to do it. I've done a guys episode with a couple guys at once. I'd like to do another one because I do think it brings such a different perspective to the surgery from a male perspective that a lot of people don't think about or realize. So would you be interested in something like that? No pressure.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay, good answer. And for all of you guys who've been watching, thank you so much for watching. You can watch old episodes and all episodes at YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Spotify and Apple and anything
Whoa.
that can have a podcast. Yeah, I am all over. I am plastered all over the place. I ain't messing around. You can find me on Unzipped with Sherry. And then on that note, I hope you guys all have an amazing week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you guys.